blind woman sits with her guide dog when a thug struts up, taunting, unaware that dog's a badass protector. What happens next will blow your mind, but first drop a comment. Tell me what city you're in. I'm curious how far this story's traveled. Don't forget to hit subscribe for Wild Tales Daily. All right, let's roll. A sunny day in New York's Central Park. A slice of peace amid the city's roar. Aisha Williams calls this her haven. She's perched on her favorite weathered bench, tucked beneath towering oaks, their branches swaying gently overhead. She tilts her face to catch the breeze, soaking in the sounds, birds chirping high above, kids giggling near the playground, the faint hum of traffic weaving through the trees. Her hand clutches the worn leather leash of Duke, her German Shepherd guide dog. Duke's more than a pet. He's her shield, her sight, her rock, since a car crash stole her vision 6 years back, leaving her world dark but not empty. Even with the park's calm wrapping around them, Duke's on edge today. His ears flick at every rustle, leaves falling, a squirrel darting past, his keen eyes sweeping the paths, alert, like he's waiting for something to break the quiet. Over by the park's Bethesda fountain, Travis Reed lounges against his glossy black motorcycle, his leather-clad crew sprawled around him. He's a big guy, broad shoulders, shaved head gleaming in the sun, tattoos snaking up his arms like a roadmap of trouble. He's got that vibe that turns heads, whether you like it or not. Then he spots Aisha, sitting there all serene, with Duke poised beside her. Something about her quiet strength and that dog's steady, watchful stance gets under his skin, like a challenge he didn't ask for. Travis flicks his cigarette to the pavement, grinding it under his boot with a smirk. "Well, check that out," he sneers, voice loud and sharp. "A princess and her perfect little pup, huh?" He steps off from his bike, swagger in his stride, while his buddies snicker behind him, egging him on. Travis's heavy boots pound the pavement, a steady thud-thud cutting through the park as he marches straight for Aisha. Duke catches it first. His ears snap up, body going rigid, a deep growl rumbling low in his chest like distant thunder. Aisha feels the leash pull taut in her grip, her heart skipping as she turns her head toward the heavy footsteps closing in, the air shifting around her. "Hey there, sweetheart," Travis calls, his voice thick with mockery, dripping like oil over gravel. "Nice dog you've got. What's he do? Tricks? Maybe jump through hoops or roll over for a treat?" Aisha's fingers clamp tighter around Duke's leash, her pulse racing hard. She can't see this guy, but the venom in his tone stings clear as day. "Leave us alone," she snaps, voice steady despite the fear churning deep inside. Travis doesn't let up. He claps his hands hard, a sharp crack slicing the air trying to rattle Duke. But Duke holds firm, unshaken, his fierce eyes locked tight on Travis, that growl sinking deeper, a low rumble that promises trouble if this guy doesn't wise up fast. "Ooh, tough guy, huh?" Travis taunts, his voice a jagged edge as he steps closer, boots scuffing the dirt. A handful of parkgoers stop now, joggers, a mom with a stroller, watching, wide-eyed but too scared to step in. Travis smirks, feeding off the stairs, and lifts his foot like he's about to kick Duke. The dog's growl explodes, deep and guttural, and Usher shouts, "Don't you dare touch him!" Ha ha. Here's the kicker, folks. Travis has no clue what he's up against. Duke's not just any dog. Before guiding Aisha, he was a canine military, trained, forged in high-stakes missions, built to tackle dangers way bigger than this loudmouth. As Travis's foot edges closer, Duke's old combat instincts roar awake, his muscles coil tight, ready to spring, his steely gaze fixed on the threat, unwavering, like a soldier sizing up the enemy. The park goes dead quiet, the air thick and heavy, everyone holding their breath for what's next. Travis's laugh cuts through, loud and harsh, bouncing off the trees as he hoists his foot higher, relishing the drama he's stirring up. "Come on, Mutt, let's see it," he sneers, voice dripping with glee. Aisha's fingers dig into Duke's leash, knuckles whitening, her heart pounding. She can't see it, but the tension crackles around her like a live wire. Duke stays rock steady, body stiff as a coiled spring, poised and waiting. His growls drop lower, a dark rumble that screams a warning. Travis's next move might be his last dumb one. The little crowd around them freezes, joggers, dog walkers, a guy with a kid, all stuck, unsure if they should jump in. Phones are out, shaky hands filming, while hushed voices mutter, "Someone's got to stop him," a woman whispers, but fear keeps them glued in place. Aisha's voice breaks, raw with panic, as she shouts again, "Leave us alone. He's not just some dog. He'll protect himself." Her words hang there, pleading, fierce, but Travis just eats it up, his bravado swelling. "Protect himself?" he scoffs, voice thick with mockery. "What, this oversized lapdog? Watch me prove you wrong," he grins, ready to push it further, oblivious to the storm brewing. As Travis swings his foot toward Duke, the German Shepherd leaps into gear, moving so fast it shocks the crowd. He dodges the kick with a quick sidestep, paws scraping the ground, then lets out a bark, sharp, loud, booming across the park like a drill sergeant's order. In one smooth move, he positions himself between Aisha and Travis, teeth flashing, eyes burning into the guy. This isn't some pet throwing a tantrum. It's a pro, a guardian, trained to shut down threats, and everyone feels the weight of it. Travis trips back, off balance, stunned by the raw power rolling off Duke. For a split second, time stops. The park's a statue gallery, all eyes on this showdown. Aisha grips Duke's leash tight, feeling his every shift vibrate up her arm, the air buzzing with unspoken stakes. She knows something's different now. "Duke," she whispers, voice shaky, barely audible over her racing heart. Duke doesn't glance her way. His focus is laser-locked on Travis, ears up, ready for whatever this guy's dumb enough to try next. Travis isn't laughing anymore, that cocky smirk's gone, swapped for a twitch of worry in his eyes. "What the hell's wrong with this dog?" he mumbles, voice dropping, no bite left, just confusion and a hint of fear. The crowd's humming now, phones still rolling, catching every flinch. Then a park ranger barrels through, uniform crisp, boots heavy, his voice slicing the tension. "What's going on here?" he demands, firm and no nonsense, planting himself like a wall. Travis locks up, bravado draining fast as he realizes all eyes are on him, and not in a good way. Duke doesn't budge, a solid wall of fur and muscle, his stance screaming one thing, "Try it again and you're done." Aisha lets out a shaky breath, her grip on the leash easing just a touch as Duke's tension dips. But her gut twists. She knows this isn't over, not with Travis still standing there, cornered and unpredictable. Travis edges back, slow and careful, hands half raised like he's waving off a fight he started. "Chill out, man. I was just fooling around. This dog's overreacting," he mutters. But the swagger's gone. His voice wavers, thin and unsure. The ranger steps up, planting himself between Travis and Aisha, arms crossed tight, his face hard as stone. "You call harassing a guide dog fooling around? That's not just dumb. It's against the law, and you know it," he says, voice sharp, cutting through the excuse. Aisha's still shaking, fingers locked around Duke's leash like it's her lifeline. Duke doesn't flinch. He's rooted in front of her, eyes burning into Travis, a quiet force of will. The air's thick, electric, the crowd's whispers buzzing like static, ramping up the nerves. The ranger keeps going, voice steady but loaded with grit. This dog's doing his job, keeping her safe. And from what I see, he's damn good at it, way better than you are at acting like a decent person. Travis's smirk vanishes, wiped clean by the ranger's words hitting hard. Duke's growl keeps rolling, low and steady, while Aisha's hand drifts down, brushing his head, feeling his strength. "Good boy, Duke," she whispers, voice trembling but warm with thanks, a quiet lifeline in the chaos. The crowd's hushed, some filming with shaky hands, others muttering low, eyes wide. Then an older guy steps up, his faded military cap glinting in the sun, lines etched deep in his face. His voice slices through the murmurs, calm but sure. "That's no regular dog," the old man says, voice steady, carrying a quiet weight. His face, weathered like old leather, tells tales of years lived hard, and he points straight at Duke with a finger that's seen action. "I'd know that stance anywhere." "It's a canine." A gasp ripples through the crowd, sharp and quick, even Travis jolting a bit, eyes widening. Aisha's brow creases, confusion tugging at her as she turns toward the voice. "What are you saying?" "He's my guide dog," she says, voice soft, almost lost, her grip tightening on Duke's leash like it's her anchor. The man edges closer, nodding slow and deliberate. "He's your guide now, ma'am, no doubt, but I'd stake my last dime he's seen service before. That focus, that bark, it's pure instinct, the kind only a military-trained dog carries. The words crash over Aisha like a tide, heavy and sudden. She drops to her knees beside Duke, fingers sinking into his thick fur, tracing it like she's meeting him for the first time. "Duke," she murmurs, voice quivering, caught between wonder and shock, her mind racing to catch up with this new truth. Aisha always knew Duke was special, but this is a whole other level she never dreamed of. The man keeps talking, voice firm, laced with deep respect. Dogs like him, they're heroes, plain and simple. Trained for war zones, guarding soldiers, taking down threats, no hesitation. If he's acting like this, it's 'cause he pegged that guy as trouble. He flicks a hard look at Travis, eyes narrowing like a blade, and Travis squirms, shifting his weight, his tough guy mask slipping further down, leaving him exposed and small in the growing shadow of Duke's past. Travis's bravado's toast. He's done. He stumbles back another step, shoulders sagging like a deflated tire. "I didn't know," he mumbles, voice so low it's nearly lost in the breeze. The ranger closes in, tone hard as steel. "Not knowing doesn't cut it. You damn lucky this dog didn't take you apart." He held back. Duke eases up just a bit, muscles loosening, but his eyes stay glued to Travis, watching, waiting. Aisha lets out a ragged breath, heart still hammering, her mind spinning as she tries to wrap it around everything she's just heard. The crowd's buzzing now, alive with awe, eyes locked on Duke like he's something out of a legend. He's not just a guide dog anymore. He's a warrior, and they feel it. The ranger glares at Travis, authority mixed with pure disgust in his stare. "You're finished here," he snaps, voice booming, pointing toward the exit like he's banishing trouble itself, leaving no room for argument. Travis stalls, eyes darting, twitchy, bouncing between Duke and the old vet who just spilled the truth. The crowd's murmurs swell, voices overlapping, and someone yells, "Call the cops already." Travis mutters a curse, low and bitter, his tough guy front collapsing under the crush of staring eyes and whispered scorn. Duke's calmer now, but he's still planted firm, a sentinel with those steady eyes pinned on Travis, ready to move if this guy's dumb enough to test him again, his presence a quiet, unshakable warning. Aisha's world tilts, spinning fast. Duke, a military dog, her mind echoes the vet's words over and over. Combat zones, soldiers, danger. She sinks down beside him, fingers shaking as they glide through his fur, searching for answers. "Duke," she whispers, soft and tender, reaching for a part of him she's never touched before. He shifts his head just a bit, eyes softening for a heartbeat, warm, familiar, before snapping back to Travis, that fierce edge returning, a guardian split between past and present. The old vet steps up again, his face stern but gentle, eyes carrying a quiet knowing. "Ma'am, listen. Dogs like him don't shake off their training. It's in there, deep, locked away till they're called on. Today he figured you needed him bad." Aisha swallows, throat tight, tears stinging as they well up. Her mind drifts. Every time Duke's ears perked at nothing. Every sharp bark that froze her mid-step. Those nights he paced, restless. She'd seen him as her guide, her steady hand, but now it hit her. He's been more, so much more, watching over her in ways she never guessed. Travis can't take it anymore. He's squirming, antsy. Okay, he mumbles, backing off quick. "I didn't mean nothing by it." The ranger's not having it, eyes narrow. "Ain't your call to make," he fires back, sharp and final. "You've done plenty already." Travis shuffles toward the exit, shoulders slumped, head low. The ranger tailing him close, making damn sure he's gone for good. The crowd starts thinning out slow. Some linger, though, still staring, hooked on Aisha and Duke, like they're witnessing something they'll talk about for days. The vet hangs back too, eyes on Duke, that quiet respect saying more than words ever could. As the crowd's last whispers die out, Aisha stays on the bench, hand pressed to Duke's back, feeling his steady warmth. "You've always watched out for me," she murmurs, voice cracking, soft, raw. "I never knew you'd go this far." Duke sits close, calm now, his breathing even, those sharp eyes still sweeping the park, like he's double-checking the threats gone, keeping her safe even in the stillness. That night, Aisha perches on her worn couch in her Brooklyn apartment, eyes unfocused, locked on Duke as he sprawls by her feet, his snores soft in the quiet. The day spins through her head like a storm, Travis's hostility, the ranger stepping in, and above all that bombshell about Duke's past. She grabs her laptop, fingers hovering, shaky, unsure. What's she even looking for? Her mind's a mess, grasping for a thread to pull. Then it hits. Military canine history. She types it slow, voice command kicking in, the hum of the machine filling the room as she braces for what she might find. Aisha digs into article after article, the laptop's voice reading aloud, and her grasp of Duke grows heavier, richer. These dogs aren't just trained, they're soldiers, full on. They learn to sniff out danger, shield their handlers, stay cool when everything's falling apart. Every word matches Duke's moves today. His focus, his calm fury. But it stirs up questions that gnaw at her. What's he seen out there? Who'd he stand beside in the chaos? And how'd he land with her, of all people, after all that? Her mind's racing, piecing together a puzzle she didn't know she'd been holding. Imagining Duke in danger, bullets flying, chaos everywhere, twists Aisha's heart with pride and an ache she can't shake. She shuts the laptop, the click loud in the stillness, and slides to the floor beside him. Her fingers trace through his thick fur, slow and gentle, soaking in his warmth. "I've always trusted you, Duke," she says, soft, voice barely above a whisper. "But now, I get it. Why you're you. You're so much bigger than I ever knew. You've been through hell, haven't you?" Her words hang there, heavy with love, reaching for him. Duke's ears flick at her voice, and he presses into her hand, warm and solid. For the first time, Aisha feels something deeper than need. It's a tie built on his silent strength, his fierce loyalty that never wavers. Next morning, sunlight barely up, she decides. She grabs her phone, calls the local veterans group, voice steady as she spills the park story, asking, pleading almost, is there any way to find out more about his past? I need to know who he was before me. The woman on the line, voice kind, says she'll dig into it. Lots of retired K9s get new gigs. Guiding, therapy, stuff like that, she explains, calm and clear. It keeps them going, gives them purpose after service. Aisha's chest squeezes tight at that word, purpose. It lands heavy now, loaded with meaning. Duke wasn't just handed to her to help out. He's been saving her, day after day, in ways she's only starting to grasp. Ways that stretch far beyond guiding her steps. All done, Aisha drops to her knees beside Duke. Heart full. We'll sort this out together, you and me, she says, a tiny smile breaking through. Duke's tail gives a soft wag, his steady calm washing over her like a warm wave. Whatever they uncover, one truth shines clear. Duke's not just her guide through the dark. He's her protector, her teammate, her hero, woven into her life deeper than she ever imagined. A week's gone by since that park chaos, but Aisha can't let go of the questions swirling about Duke's past. Every still moment drags her back to the vet's words. That's a canine combat trained. Duke's always been her rock, something extraordinary. But now she sees how much of him she's missed. She's leaned on him, trusted his lead through her darkness, and yet there's this pull. She owes him more, owes it to him to dig into the life he lived before he found her, to honor who he was. One afternoon, as Aisha's lacing up for Duke's usual walk, her phone vibrates. Unknown number flashing. She answers fast, heart thumping, loud in her chest. "Miss Williams?" Karen from the veterans group, a steady voice says, warm but businesslike. "I've got something on your dog." Aisha holds her breath, gripping the phone tight as Karen lays it out. His military ID ties to a retired canine, name's Titan, served overseas with Sergeant Ryan Brooks through a bunch of missions, tough ones, before he was done. The words land like stones, heavy, real, shifting everything she thought she knew about Duke. Hearing Duke called Titan sends a chill racing down Aisha's spine. "Titan," she echoes. Soft, like she's testing a stranger's name. Karen keeps going. "Sergeant Brooks, retired a while back, lives out in Montana now. I can give you his info if you want. He might fill you in on Titan's service days." Aisha scribbles it down, hands shaky, the pen slipping a little. her mind already leaping ahead to what this Ryan Brooks might say about the dog she thought she knew. Call over, Aisha gazes at Duke stretched out by her feet, calm, ever watchful. Titan, she whispers, the name sinking in, thick with a past she can't even picture. That night she's on her couch, phone in hand, staring at the screen. She's run through her words for Sergeant Brooks a dozen times. Hi, I've got your dog, tell me about him. But nerves clamp down, stopping her cold. What if it digs up old pain for him? What if he shuts her out? Then she looks at Duke, her rock, her shield for years now, and knows she's got to do this, to chase down the fragments of his story for him. Aisha takes a deep breath, summons her nerve, and hits call. It rings twice, then a rough, gravelly voice picks up. Yeah, hello? Her stomach flips, but she steadies her voice. Hi, is this Sergeant Ryan Brooks? I'm Aisha Williams. I think I've got your old canine Titan. Silence stretches out, long enough she wonders if the call dropped, her thumb hovering over the button. Then Ryan's voice breaks through, thick, raw with feeling. Titan, you're not kidding me, are you? I thought he was gone, never figured I'd hear his name again. The weight in his words hooks her deep. Tears prick Aisha's eyes, hearing the crack in Ryan's voice pull her in. He's been mine a few years, she says, gentle, voice low. Didn't know a thing about his past till now. He's saved me more ways than I can put words to. Ryan exhales, shaky, rough. He saved me too, more times than I can tally up. I've got to see him, Aisha. Right then, she feels it. This isn't just some end, it's a start, a new page turning not just for her, but for Duke. And this guy who once stood shoulder to shoulder with him in the fire. The days after talking to Sergeant Ryan Brooks drag like forever for Aisha. Ryan's dead set on flying in quick to see Titan, Duke as she knows him now. She tries sticking to her routine, coffee, walks, the usual. But the weight buzzes around her, a nervous hum she can't shake. How's Duke gonna take it? Will he know Ryan, feel that old spark? Could this shift what they've got, her and him? The questions tumble through her head, restless, as she gears up for a day she knows'll hit hard, emotions piling up like storm clouds she can't see, but sure as hell feels. Afternoon rolls in, and Aisha's outside her Brooklyn apartment with Duke, waiting. The leash quivers in her hands, Duke shifting his weight, picking up her jittery vibe. It's gonna be fine, Duke, she whispers, soft, unsure if she's calming him or herself. Maybe both. A car pulls up, tires crunching gravel, doors slamming shut loud enough to echo. Ryan's deep voice cuts through a second later. Aisha, he calls, tentative but eager, a mix of hope and nerves threading through it, like he's stepping into something big and doesn't know what'll hit him first. Aisha forces a shaky smile. Yeah, I'm Aisha. And this, she nods toward Duke, voice hitching a little. This is Titan. That old name rings out, and Duke's ears twitch up sharp. Ryan stops dead, eyes glued to him, breath caught. Then he eases down slow, crouching, hands stretching out careful. Hey, big guy, he says, voice low, trembling with something deep, raw. You still know me, huh? It's a question hanging fragile in the air, heavy with years apart. Duke holds steady, body tight, alert. Aisha's breath snags, time dragging slow as she waits. Then Duke steps forward, cautious, nose brushing Ryan's outstretched hand, testing. It's subtle at first, a flicker, then it hits. His tail starts wagging, slow, then faster, and a soft whine slips out, low and longing. Ryan's eyes well up, tears spilling quick as he reaches to rub Duke's head, gentle, reverent. You remember me, don't you? He whispers, voice cracking, thick with years of missing this bond. Now alive again, right there in front of him. Aisha hears the shake in Ryan's voice and her own tears brim, spilling warm down her cheeks. She's always felt Duke was one of a kind, but watching him with Ryan, it's a whole new layer, raw and real. They head inside, settling in her small living room, and Ryan starts talking. Stories from their military days. Titan was my shadow, every mission, he says, voice steadying as he goes, saved my ass more times than I can keep track of. Fearless, through and through. Never thought I'd get another shot to see him. Each word paints a picture, vivid, heavy with respect. Aisha hangs on every word, fingers trailing through Duke's fur as Ryan spills their history. His tales brim with risk, close calls, sacrifice, but underneath there's this deep love, respect, woven into every sentence, clear as day. That night, as Ryan gets ready to go, he drops down beside Duke one last time. "You've got it good now, big guy," he says, voice rough, thick with feeling, like it's hard to let go. "Couldn't have picked a better soul to look after you." His hand lingers, a final pat, heavy with gratitude and goodbye. Aisha's chest squeezes at that, emotion knotting up tight. "Thank you for letting me have him," she says, voice soft, barely holding steady. Ryan stands, offers a small, worn smile. He's right where he belongs. He heads out, steps fading, and Aisha looks down at Duke, his steady presence anchoring her. "You've been through so much, huh?" she murmurs, tender, aching. "But whatever's happened, you're home now, with me." Her words settle gentle, a promise wrapped around them both. After Ryan's visit, Aisha can't shake what she's learned about Duke. Titan, as Ryan named him. Tales of his courage in war, sharp mind in the clutch, loyalty that never broke. They sketch out a dog who's seen more than most people could handle. It leaves her awestruck, a little heartbroken too. Each time her hand brushes his fur or he nudges her across a busy street, she wonders, how much of that devotion's tied to scars he carries, battles he fought long before he was hers. It's a quiet ache, knowing he's given her everything after living through so much. One afternoon, Aisha takes Duke to a hushed corner of the park, somewhere she's dodged since that mess with Travis. That day still echoes, but it's shifted now, softer. Duke's not just her guide anymore, he's her shield, a warrior who picked her to trust, to stand by. They stroll the path, leaves crunching underfoot, and she talks low, gentle. "Hope you know what you mean to me, Duke. You've done so much, saved so many, and still, every day, you stick with me right here." Her voice carries love, a quiet marvel at this bond that's grown bigger than she ever saw coming. Duke nudges her leg, soft, like he's saying, "I get it." Aisha smiles, easing onto a bench, letting him settle at her feet, his warmth a steady comfort. The park's still, only the breeze rustling leaves breaks the silence. For the first time in weeks, peace wraps around her, soft and real. But Ryan's words from his visit creep back. He doesn't lose that training. It's in him, always there, ready. It lingers, a quiet thread tugging at her, making her wonder what else Duke's holding from those days. Does Duke ever miss it, Aisha wonders? The rush, the risk, that steady drum of purpose? That night, she grabs her phone, calls Ryan again, needing more. Not just his past, but how to respect it right. "Ryan," she says when he picks up, voice steady but searching, "I've been turning over what you said. Do you think Duke, Titan I mean, ever longs for that old life, the one he had with you?" She holds her breath, waiting, hoping for a piece to fit this puzzle she's only started to see. A pause hangs heavy on the line, then Ryan answers, slow. "Maybe, in his way, yeah, but dogs like him, they don't dwell back there. They live for who's with him now. And Aisha, you're his mission these days." The words stick echoing long after she hangs up. "You're his mission." Aisha always saw Duke as her lifeline, her way through a world gone dark, guiding her steady. Now they glow different, brighter, a truth that shifts how she sees him, sees them. But now it clicks. Their bond's not just her leaning on him, it's two-way, real. She's given Duke purpose, same as he's handed her the guts to face life again, step by step. It's a partnership, true and deep. That night, Aisha slides to the floor beside him, close, and whispers, "I'll make sure you feel it, Duke. How much I love you, every damn day." Her voice is soft, fierce, a vow sealed in the quiet between them, strong as steel. Duke presses into her, warm, solid, rooting her right there. For Aisha, nothing beats that certainty. Whatever's coming, they'll tackle it side by side, no question. Weeks roll on, and she sinks deeper into their bond, seeing it clearer. Knowing his past doesn't shift what they've got, it makes it richer, fuller. Each time he leads her across a noisy street or bumps her from a curb, she thinks of his fights, wars he waged out there, and the quiet one he won, settling into this life with her. It's a thread tying them tighter every day. One nagging thought keeps Aisha up nights. Is she giving Duke the life he's earned? One morning, coffee steaming in her mug, she stumbles on an article about retired military dogs. Voice reader droning it out. It paints a picture. Canine wrestling to fit into civilian life, missing the tight rhythm of training. Some get antsy, others sink low, craving that old sense of purpose they lived for. It sticks, a quiet worry burrowing in, making her wonder if she's missing something he needs. Aisha glances at Duke, sprawled calm at her feet, breathing easy. He doesn't look restless, but what if she's blind to it? Ironic, huh? The thought he might be aching for more, quiet-like, pulls hard at her chest. She's set on it now, making sure he's really happy, deep down happy. She starts digging, researching ways to fill his days. Find stuff on programs for retired service dogs, spots where they can run drills, track scents, tap into that old training life they knew, keeping their spirits lit. That afternoon, Aisha dials up one of those groups, spilling Duke's tale over the line. The woman's all in, voice bright. We'd love to check Duke out, she says, eager. It's not just play, it's about giving them purpose, something to live for. Sounds like he'd shine here. A week later, they're there. A big spread, field stretching wide, obstacle courses looping around, clusters of retired canines moving sharp with their handler. The air's alive, barking and purpose humming through it, pulling Aisha in. Duke's on it the second they pass the gate, ears up, tail flicking, alive. Aisha feels it in his stride, this spark, and wonders, heart sinking a bit, if this is what he's been missing all along. A trainer strides over, grin wide and warm. So this is Titan, huh? She says, dropping down to meet him, hand out. Let's see what he's still got. They lead Duke off, tracking trails, weaving agility runs, sniffing out targets, and Aisha watches from a bench, sun warm on her face, feeling him wake up in a way she hasn't seen. Aisha's chest knots up, watching Duke light up, moving sharp, sure, a confidence she's never caught before. It's like some sleeping piece of him's wide awake now, roaring back to life. The trainer comes back, eyes shining, awed. He's unreal, she says, voice bright, like he never stepped off the field. Aisha nods, pride swelling, but there's a bittersweet sting too, a quiet what if. That night, home again, she kneels by Duke, hands sliding through his fur, feeling his steady breath, her mind still spinning from the day, from seeing him so alive. You're incredible, Aisha whispers, tears pooling, voice shaky with love. I won't let you lose that piece of you. Whatever it takes, we'll work it out, me and you. Duke leans into her hand, warm, solid, calming her racing heart. For Aisha, today peeled back layers, Duke's not just her guide. He's Titan, still kicking. His story's not done, not by a long shot, and she's in it with him, every step, ready to keep that fire burning bright. Weeks after Duke's tryout at the training spot shake up Aisha's world, setting a fresh beat. Every Saturday they're back, Duke diving into drills made for retired canines, loving it. He's in his element, sniffing out trails, weaving through obstacle courses, snapping to commands like he's still in his heyday, peak form. Aisha watches, chest swelling with pride, his every move sharp and alive. It sinks in deeper each time, who Duke really is. What he carries inside, this mix of warrior and partner she's only now fully seeing, a bond growing roots in ways she never expected. One afternoon, post-session, the trainer grabs Aisha, eyes bright. Duke's something else, she says, voice full of wow. He's not just some retired canine. He's top tier, best I've seen. That focus, that discipline, rare as hell for a dog this long out of the game. Aisha smiles, pride lighting her up, but there's a weight tugging too. Duke's alive out there, happy, and she loves that, but it nags at her, this quiet worry about keeping his needs and hers in sync, making sure they're both getting what they need from this life they've built together. Is he happy, you think? Aisha asks, voice catching, unsure. The trainer's face softens, kind. For dogs like him, happy's tied to purpose, and Aisha, you're a big piece of his. That night she mulls it over, sitting by Duke in her snug living room. He stretched out at her feet, breathing calm, steady, his presence like a warm blanket she never wants to lose. Those words dig in, settling deep, shifting how she sees there every day. Aisha runs through it all, years of Duke guiding her, shielding her, his loyalty rock solid. She used to think she was the one needing him, leaning hard. Now she gets it. It's mutual, a two-way street. "You never quit being a hero, huh?" she whispers, hands sliding through his fur, soft and slow. "Even now, you're still watching my back, keeping me steady." Her voice is quiet, full of wonder at this truth they share. A bit later, Ryan Brooks calls, his voice warm, familiar, pulling Aisha in. They talk almost an hour. Duke's updates, how he's doing. She mentions the training, and Ryan chuckles, deep and easy. "That's the Titan I remember all right," he says, grin audible. "But don't lose sight, his real mission's you now. You're his family, Aisha." Those words stick, ringing in her ears long after the line goes quiet. Duke's world's shifted, sure, but his core's steady as ever, guarding the ones he loves, and she's at the heart of it, no question. One evening, walking slow, Aisha and Duke pause at that old bench in the park, the exact spot where everything flipped weeks back, where Duke's past cracked open. She sits, cool breeze brushing her skin, carrying away the day. "You've been through so much," she says, soft, voice thick with thanks, love. "All those places, all you've done, and still, you picked me to stick with. I'll never let that slip by, never take it light." It's a quiet promise, breathed out to the night, to him, binding them tighter in that still moment. Duke leans into her leg, like he's hearing her, his steady strength anchoring her right there. Aisha makes a silent vow. She'll keep his past alive, honor it while carving out a future where he's full up, happy, and love deep. For her, there's nothing bigger, no better gift than moving through life with Duke, this incredible soul who's been a warrior, her guide, and above all, her rock-steady friend. The kind you don't just find anywhere, the kind that changes everything. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss out on more exciting stories every day. See you in the next one.